We have less than 1 month until the Nintendo Switch 2 finally drops. June 5th cannot come here soon enough, guys. Seriously, I am beyond hyped. I'm so excited. It's like Christmas, but for Nintendo fans, in June. What could be better? Anyway, because we are quickly nearing the release of the Switch 2, I figured let's give the OG Switch, the Switch OLED, and maybe, just maybe, the Switch Lite some love. Okay, so with that said, I figured let's have some fun with today's video, guys. Out of my own pocket, I purchased 5 Switch accessories that are not that greatly reviewed. So in other words, these accessories, yeah, they each have at least 1-star review. So let's just jump into them and see if they're really as bad as people claim. First up is this Switch case, which apparently is designed for the Switch 2. But, of course, the Switch 2 is not out yet. So for now, let's just use the OG Switch. Alright, so looking at Amazon, according to TM, I don't know if his name is really trademark, Tsubumum, or whatever, but TM says product description is not accurate. This case does not have slots for 20 game cards. It's 12, which you can see in the photo. I will be returning. TM, come here, listen. You might have 2 of these on your face as well. They're called eyeballs. If the photo clearly shows that the case holds 12 games, then why did you buy this case just thinking by some miracle between the Amazon warehouse and your house that 12 would magically turn into 20? People blow my mind. So let's see what this case is all about. Alright, so this is how you get the case in this nice fancy plastic bag. And taking the case out of the plastic bag, I gotta say, right away, the build quality actually looks pretty decent, pretty standard. It's a hard shell style case. Opening up the zipper. Let's see. Here we go. There are the game card slots. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But wait a minute. Let's look at the Amazon page. Huh. That looks accurate to me. So either the makers of this case made a mistake and they changed that 20 to 12, or TM is just outright not that bright. But yeah, there's the case. I mean, I don't know what you'd expect from a Switch case. And apparently this will fit the Switch 2, which I'm pretty excited about. So I think I'm going to keep this for my Switch 2. But for now, let's just see how it holds the OG Switch. There she is. Now, keep in mind, this case is obviously designed for the Switch 2, and the OG Switch is quite a bit smaller than the Switch 2. So there it is. Alright. And let's see how it fits. Yeah, there's quite a bit of room. But hey, I mean, obviously that goes without saying. So anyway, TM, I don't know what you're thinking. This has 12 game slots, and it looks like it's going to fit the Switch 2 just fine. So, on to the next. Next up is something very strange. It's a dustproof kit for the Switch OLED. I have never once in my life thought, hey, I really want to dustproof this or dustproof that, because it's just a fact of life. Things are gonna get dust on them, you know? But yeah, the Switch OLED specifically, this is built for. So apparently it's going to protect all the ports and slots from dust getting inside. I mean, is this something people actually want? Check out this review. This is pretty funny. Okay, so Aubrey says, nice idea, but actually awful. I was really excited and prepared to love this product. I'm sorry, but if you're really excited to love a product that plugs the ports and whatever slots of your Switch OLED from getting dust within, Aubrey, I think you gotta find more hobbies in your life to keep your day interesting. That is nothing to get excited over. Anyway, Aubrey goes on to say, my excitement at being able to dust-proof and protect all my Switch's nooks and crannies. Alright. She did a little bit of an Animal Crossing New Horizons reference. I respect it. Was quickly met with deep sadness when I tried to use the product. Deep sadness? Really? Deep sadness? And then, of course, Aubrey goes on to say, if you put the covers on or in the Switch, set it down carefully and don't move it or touch it in any capacity, then its product is fine. Unfortunately, that's not realistic. The second you pick up, move aside, or try to put your Switch in its bag, or I'm sorry, case or bag, the dust cover pieces immediately fall off, flying under the bed, across the room, or into the nether. Perhaps a Minecraft reference. These things do not fit in their assigned spots. There is no snugness that would prevent them from falling out at the slightest jostle. Not even the microphone jack cover, which surprised me because that's not a new idea. And one person oddly found this helpful. Okay, so because this is built specifically for the Switch OLED, let's go upstairs and test it out. And here's my beautiful Switch OLED. Love this thing. Look at that bright display. It's beautiful. Now let's do a quick unboxing of this. I mean, it's obviously got plenty of pieces in here. And I'm pretty sure it's going to do the job at plugging the holes. I mean, that's really not that difficult. But the issue Aubrey had is the fact that apparently they fall out of the Switch pretty easily, which can obviously be a huge issue because doing so apparently causes great sadness in Aubrey's exciting life. So yeah, let's see if these fit, and most important of all, let's see if they stay in. We are back in the basement, so it looks like these protect the Joy-Con slider mechanisms from getting dust within. I don't know what these are going to protect, but I guess we'll figure out as we plug the holes, but they're quite small, as you can see. I guess like the headphones jack and all that stuff. Then we've got these round ones. Oh, okay, so these actually go on the analog sticks. So these aren't really dust covers. These are more grips, I guess you could call them. So there you go. Exciting stuff. So exciting that I'm dropping them, guys. I'm just shaking from excitement over here. And, ooh, okay. I will say, okay. They have a little bit of attention to detail. These are actually labeled, and I have a lot of respect for that. This one says USB, LAN, in other words, Ethernet port, HDMI, we all know what that is, and USB. Okay, let's see. Let's plug this switch up and see if everything stays in. Okay, so the USB I'm not going to do right now because that obviously goes on the dock itself, because this doesn't really have too many USB ports except for USB-C, and this looks like it fits into USB-A. So for now, we're going to put that aside. But this one says AC. This one says AC as well, but it looks like it fits into the USB-C port. And there you go. Oh, thank God. Thank God. Wow, the USB-C port is actually protected from dust. I don't know how I lived without these before, guys. HDMI, I'm not going to do that right now because obviously there's not many ports on the Switch itself, and I'm not going to go through the trouble of taking the dock out and plugging everything in. I'm sorry, it's just not worth it, Aubrey. But I will take your word for it. But I can find these smaller ones because I know this has a headphones jack, and headphones jack is up here on the top. So there you go. It does indeed fit in the hole. Oh, hold on, Aubrey. Aubrey, I think you're onto something here. That did not want to go in the hole, and it is under the table. So I'm not even going to bother finding that because this is a worthless product. I'm not going to beat around the bush, guys. This is one of the most worthless products. It's insane that people actually get excited over dust protectors. But I will say, shaking the Switch, yeah, I mean the USB-C connector, or sorry, protector, God forbid, does not come out. And like this thing does not want to come out unless I give it a good tug. So, sorry, debunked, but I will say this. Hold on. We can take the Joy-Con out, right? Which is very rare for me to do. And I think these are going to protect the actual Switch itself, right? Not the Joy-Con. So it looks like they just kind of slide in as if they're Joy-Con. Wow. I gotta say, it's actually pretty satisfying. That's actually really satisfying because I've never done this before. So check it out. Boom. Now that I get, that I can actually get behind, because if for whatever reason your Joy-Con are out most of the time and you don't want to expose anything right there on the sides, then yeah, that's fine. But me personally, my Joy-Con are usually in here because if I'm playing it portably, obviously I'm using the Joy-Con, or if I'm docked, then the Joy-Con are usually connected anyway and I'm using my Switch Pro controller. But I gotta say, once these grips are on the side, this actually feels pretty nice to hold. It just feels like a smaller tablet. So that I'll say is actually really nice. But again, I just can't get behind the idea of dust protecting your Switch. I mean, unless you live in like a desert or maybe Arizona and you have like a huge dust or sandstorm problem over there. I have no idea what I'm talking about right now. So let's just move on to the next product. And that is this. This I got for just $13. And well, that's exactly why I am reviewing it today, besides the fact that it did get a 1-star review. But a controller for $13, you have to wonder what kind of quality you're getting with this kind of controller. And according to Julianne1618, she says, and I quote, "Stopped working after 3 days. We got this controller and loved it at first. Then after 3 days, while in use, oh, that is the worst, it suddenly turned off. We tried resetting our switch, fully charging the controller. It was already charged. Everything we could think of to make it work. It never switched back on. I get it. I see what you did there." No, I don't think she's that clever. It never switched back on after 2 more days of trying, and we had to throw it away. Do not recommend. Whoa, hold on. Are people actually throwing away their controllers? That's just so bizarre to me. Why are you throwing away your controllers? That's so weird to me. I don't think I've ever thrown away a video game controller, except for, actually, I take that back. It was just a few weeks ago when I was going through my controllers, and one of my PlayStation 3 controllers, I'm pretty sure it was a PlayStation 3 controller. It was a third-party controller. It was sticky beyond your wildest dreams. Seriously, it was just covered in some kind of residue, or like, I don't know, it melted in the box from being in the sun for so long in storage. I don't know, it was disgusting, so I threw it away. So I guess I can kind of see your point. Anyway, let's unbox this and see how it feels, especially for a $13 controller. My lunch at Sheetz cost me $13, so tater tots or a controller? Let's find out. Alright, so the overall box design, I gotta say, it looks very nice considering how cheap this is. Yeah, in other words, they could have just done like a plain cardboard box, but you can actually see they put some care and attention into designing their box to look nice. Okay, so for $13, what do you get? Well, obviously I will not be returning this. Oh, there you go. See, they could have easily just done this box for $13. Okay, let's see what the quality is like. So in the box, you do get a USB-C to USB-A. There it is, USB-C to USB-A cable, a manual. I don't know why you need a manual for a controller. And actually, I gotta say, very cheap feeling tissue paper and some plastic protection. There you go, Aubrey, if you need some protection. You got plastic on your controller by default. But focusing on the controller itself, $13. Huh, okay. Okay, gotta be honest, I'm definitely getting 13 controller vibes, but I'm also getting GameCube controller vibes. Does this not look like the C-Stick? Dude, this looks like the C-Stick, just a lot bigger, and it even has the same colors as the GameCube controller. That is actually not that bad for 13 bucks. Now, I'm not going to get it connected because honestly, I don't see myself using this often. I mean, eventually I'll connect it and see how it plays, but I just wanted to get a feel for the overall controls. But again, the person on Amazon did say after 3 days, and I'm not about to use this for 3 days straight because obviously I'm going to use the Pro controller. But for 13 bucks, guys, I gotta be honest, this actually isn't that bad, especially considering you get these back buttons. Gotta be honest though, I don't know how many games on the Switch actually use back buttons, because by default, I think they just act as like A and B. Oh, but we also have an on switch right here. I think it looks like an on switch. Oh, an LED control, that's right, this has RGB. Wait, so is this actually dead out of the box? I think it's dead out of the box. I was actually kind of excited to see the RGB. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna work right now. I gotta charge it. But there you go. First impressions, $13. Hey, it ain't bad. All right, moving on to the next product. This one I'm very, very curious about. This is basically a Switch hub, right? I mean, it's like a Switch dock, but in hub form. Yeah, that's a better way of explaining it. So yes, in other words, you don't really need to use a Switch dock, when instead you could just use this hub. But does it work? That's the question. However, before doing anything, we need to focus on the Amazon review because, not gonna lie, this scares me a little bit. Nolan Twomey says, and I quote, "It broke my audio through HDMI. Do not use." And with that said, I'm not gonna risk breaking anything in my Switch OLED. Spoiler alert, I don't think it's gonna break anything. I mean, guys, it's a hub. But we're not gonna take any chances here. So we're gonna use my OG Switch. And so opening up the box, I just wanna see what the actual contents look like. So So we do have a little manual. We're not going to use that because there's no fun in that. Sorry as I hit the camera. And we don't need the box anymore. So from a design perspective, I gotta say, right off the bat, I love the colors. This just has a very fun Nintendo-like vibe going on. And as you can see, it says, need use switch. Need use switch. And it's got a very rounded take on the Joy-Con design. USB-C on this side, so this is the side that plugs into your Switch. And we've got full support for USB-A, HDMI, and USB-C. Okay, so for today's purpose, we're going to focus on this. We're gonna plug this into the Switch, right? And then, I think it needs power. I'm pretty sure it needs power. So we're gonna power it up over here and output our video and hopefully audio through HDMI. Okay, so I'm not about to go crazy and reroute a bunch of cables. So for this video's purpose, we are going to do this. I'm going to temporarily unplug my Switch OLED dock, okay? We're gonna put power into this hopefully functional USB and HDMI hub. And, oh, look at that, we're already getting power. That's a good sign. My lights just happened to turn on. That is a total coincidence, I swear. I have a very finicky HDMI cable here. So let's see if it works. Wow, okay. This went off, so I think it's gonna turn on my TV. And we are good to go. Look, check it out. I'm actually playing Mario, and it's on the hub. That is really cool. Dude, it works. So I don't know what that guy is smoking, but this is actually working extremely well so far. Now, of course, that could change in the future. But so far, everything looks fine. Everything's running great, looks great, sounds great. Huh. I'm impressed. I'm legitimately impressed. So, if for whatever reason you guys don't want to use a dock, because let's face it, this can't always fit in a suitcase or a bag, you could get that tiny hub, put it in your travel suitcase, or even your pocket, and well, you're good to go. And guys, let's face it, it's a lot smaller than this. Big ol' thumbs up from me. All right, last but certainly least, let's go. And for this product, I kid you not, I'm going to need a canned drink. Yes, this is actually compatible. In theory, it's compatible with a Switch accessory. What? Hold on, here we go. We've already debunked a few of these 1-star reviews on Amazon, but if there's one that I just simply don't have faith in, it's this. This is a 3D printed drink holder as well as Joy-Con holder. Yes, you heard me right. This is designed to hold my drink as well as my Joy-Con. And here is the review that I found on Amazon from Sarah Creek? Not sure. Sorry, Sarah. Sarah says, and I quote, "Joy-Cons don't even stay in." Okay, hold on, Sarah. You're focusing on the wrong thing. This can hold a drink, and you're focused on the Joy-Con? First of all, can it hold a drink? Yes, it can. Now, obviously, the drink's gonna fall out, because that's physics, but that's not what Sarah's talking about. What Sarah's talking about are the Joy-Con controllers. So, let's take these out of my OG Switch. Let's take the drink out, just so we don't, spill anything. And let's take the left Joy-Con. What I don't understand is the fact that you go up instead of down. Well, as you can see, the opening is on the bottom, right? But the railway, or whatever you call it, just stops up top. So, does it actually click in? Hold on. Sarah might actually be onto something here. Oh, mother. Okay, so it went in. It went in, but this would definitely fall out. I mean, it has a little bit of a click. Do you hear that? Well, here. Huh. It's not bad. It was a little tough to get in. I gotta say, that actually looks kind of cool. Especially when you put a drink in there. Why anybody would need this, I have no idea. Like, guys, just picture it. You're playing Animal Crossing, and you're like, oh, I'm kind of thirsty. You know what? Let's just open it to see if it actually works in theory. Let me turn the can around. And I'm fully prepared to spill this all over myself and my couch. Alright, playing Animal Crossing. Yep, alright. Paying Nook. There you go. Oh, I'm thirsty. Alright. More bells, more fruit. Oh, I'm thirsty. Why do I like this so much? Like, seriously, like, guys, why do I like this idea so much? This is weird. This is so bizarre. And honestly, I don't really see the Joy-Con falling out too easily because it's just basic physics. Meaning I'm holding the Joy-Con, right? But I'm kind of forcing them up into the track. And that's why it's not hollowed out up top. So now I fully understand why the creator of this weirdly 3D printed Joy-Con holder did what they did. It makes sense. It works. I'm a fan. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually a fan. Now, will I be using this realistically from day to day? No. Because if anything, check this out. It's just gonna look cool on display with my spare Joy-Con. Because why not? So, Sarah, I gotta say, the Joy-Con do stay in. I mean, yeah, they can fall out a little easily. Look at that. However, in my opinion, you kind of have to physically do it yourself for them to fall out. I mean, look, they're kind of hard to get in. So in theory, they're going to stay in as best as possible. So, there you go. Sorry, Sarah. Debunked. Guys, what is your favorite accessory that I talked about today? A quick recap. We talked about the Switch 2 case, which is technically my first Switch 2 accessory. Obviously, I don't have my Switch 2 here. But I did prove what's-his-name wrong. We also talked about that dustproof kit. Easily the stupidest thing I talked about today. I'm sorry. There's just no need for that. I mean, unless you're working in some kind of construction zone, then yeah, I completely understand. But the average user, like 99% of people, are not going to need this kit. And I'm just going to throw it out, honestly. Not even going to return it. Because I like supporting the smaller companies out there. We also have that $13 controller, which surprisingly wasn't that bad, considering I haven't used it with any games yet, but the overall build quality is what you'd expect, $13. But hey, I mean, if you're looking for a cheap controller, why not? We also have the docking station, which was my favorite thing today in terms of overall functionality. Again, if you don't want to use a traditional bulky dock, why not just hold that little adapter with you in your pocket? Bada bing, bada boom. You're done and you are good to go. And finally, last but certainly not least, this weirdly 3D printed drink holder for Joy-Con. I don't know why this exists, but I like it. Guys, all of these products are linked right below. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, if you have any ideas for any other videos like this one, let me know. Guys, I recreated this basement for this very purpose. Well, not just gaming, of course. That's its primary purpose. But I want to create more gaming content on this channel. I love gaming. Always have, always will. And I just want to continue to express my passion for gaming in, well, videos like this one. Thank you so much. Have a great day. I appreciate your support. I'll talk to you soon. Peace. Happy gaming.